Holy cow, we're back in Studio Day Heffrey. Who would have thought it? Here we are, everybody. All right, today, who's ready for this? Hope for Cowboy fans. I got hope for you. I know everybody's pretty down. Everybody's pretty sad about the Cowboys. Really underachieved. Season's over. They're 6-6. They're in first place. 6-6 isn't awesome. First place is awesome. But let me give you a reason for hope, okay? Now, the hope is not, it's not the best hope ever, but it is hope. There is hope for this Cowboy team, and I'll tell you exactly why there's hope for this Cowboy team, because somewhere in that 6-6 team, somewhere resides a good football team. Somewhere. I want you to look at something with me. I want you to take a peek here. This is courtesy of our buddy Ben Baldwin, The Athletic Seattle. This is NFL tiers. What you're looking at right now is the teams, if they're on the far right of the graph, they're awesome at offense. If they're at the very top, they're awesome at defense. This is sorted by expected points added per play on offense and defense. Now, he's also created those nifty little red lines, which can show you the tiers that the teams fall into. Now, oh no, nerd stuff. Okay, well, let's look at the very bottom left corner where the worst teams reside. Look at here. It's the Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Washington Redskins, the New York Jets, the New York Giants. Maybe there's something too. On a per-play basis, if you grade how teams play, generally their record is going to reflect how good or bad that team is. So the worst teams in the league, weird. They're right there because they're the worst teams in the league on a per-play basis. Now, let's go to where the good teams reside. Look at my Baltimore Ravens, the nerds Baltimore Ravens. The best offense in football, and it ain't close. Then you look up and you see the Patriots and the 49ers, the best defenses in football. So those little red lines give you a nice little tier. The top tier of teams in football is the Ravens, the 49ers, and then the Patriots. Those three. Now, in the second tier, what do we have? Well, we have kind of the Cowboys. That's why yesterday on the show when we were doing Number Fire's rankings of the NFL teams, the Cowboys were in fourth, and it's like, that is insane. Well, there are ways you could look at it. You just have to ignore the fact that they've lost 6 games. So somewhere inside this team is a team that is top 3 in offense, and when you add up all these teams, when you go bottom to top 12-ish in defense. So that's what the team is. So what you have here is what we like to call variance. Weird crap happens because a football's a weird shape. Now it doesn't help what's not on here. Special teams are not on here. The Cowboys having the worst field position in the league, average starting field position, is not on there. So just know that, yes, there are real reasons for optimism that they can pull this thing out of the ditch, which I call it in the ditch because at 6-6, they've 100% underachieved. But there are reasons for optimism. It's a really good offense. It's an okay defense. If somehow they could stop being the worst special teams in football, that would help. If somehow they could force some turnovers, which there's an element of luck to those, that would help. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope on the turnover front unless they're going to force a bunch of sack fumbles, because Cheeto doesn't play the ball well. Byron can't catch. There's a lot going on with not believing that the turnovers are going to come. But if you could just start winning in field position a little bit more, this team still has a chance to be a good football team and a really good football team. Do you believe it can happen? That's up to you. Do I believe it can happen? Yeah, but not strongly. But it's possible. Now, the one other thing that I want to talk about today is what the Dallas Cowboys could learn from, of all teams, the Carolina Panthers. There is a lesson to be learned. Talked about this a little bit on the show yesterday, and I want to show you one more thing. What we have here is Jonathan Jones, who covers the Carolina Panthers, and what the Panthers are going to be looking for in their new head coach according to their new owner. And you can see what those things are right there. Offensive-minded, that's cool. Offense is really important. Who loves analytics. Comfortable working with a GM and assistant GM. So guess what? they're going to join the parade of teams that realize there's an advantage to be had by knowing information and having information. The Cowboys, Jerry, Jason, you got to get out of the Stone Age. We've got to realize that there's value in these numbers, and I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to say these things because I'm a tape guy. You're not allowed to say I'm just a nerd. You know me, I'm going to watch 300 prospects this year for you guys. I'm going to do that. I believe in the tape. I believe that there are things in football that aren't necessarily measurable. I believe that there are a ton of factors that go into decisions on any given down and distance, on any given fourth down decision, on any given kick or don't kick. There's a ton that goes into it. But dang it, have the information available. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Make sure that you are subscribed to youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. Make sure that you are checking 1053thefan.com every day. And make sure that you know, as of today, somewhere inside this 6-6 Cowboy team, somewhere, there's a really good team. It exists. Now, the bad news is I don't believe that takes into account the schedule that got you there. It's just your expected points added per play on offense and defense. So, yeah, having a little bit of a soft schedule has moved those numbers up. And against the good teams, I would imagine those numbers have come down a little bit. But still, a lot of teams. Patriots have played terrible teams. A lot of teams have played terrible teams. There's hope. There is hope. But I know most people aren't hoping. You're hoping for a loss so the coach gets fired. And I hear you. I hear you. Today in the comments, leave me your favorite Carolina Panther of all time. The more obscure, the better. I'll catch you guys on the radio. I love you. Goodbye from Studio Day Heffrey.